All right, all right. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day. Um, it is a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday, and thankful for another day to, push forward in the work that God has called us to do. And I'm excited today because I wanted to go live with someone who I think you need to know and talk about something that I think is extremely important, something that's happening in our city and our state, especially in this climate that we're living in right now. So before we get into it, I'm going to ask that Mr. Jones, if you would introduce yourself and tell the people who you are and all that good stuff. We're going to jump right into it.
Okay. My name is Terry Jones, and I am the president and CEO of New Beginnings Family Services. New Beginnings Family Services, we've been providing therapeutic foster care services and community-based therapy in the state of Kentucky for over 21 years. We're Kentucky's oldest and only, and well, one of two African American agencies in the state of Kentucky that's African American owned and operated. And like I said, we've been doing it for 21 years. We've serviced over somewhere between two, three, maybe around 3,000 young people and their
Wow.
families throughout the 21 years of service.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'm Tim Finley, pastor of Kingdom Fellowship Christian Life Center. I'm with the Justice and Freedom Coalition. And the reason why I'm going live right now with Mr. Jones is because we had a chance. We were connected through Dr. Cassandra Gray, and she reached out to me and someone else. And you and I connected on yesterday.
Yes.
And what you shared with me, I thought was so absolutely important and critical that I wanted to bring this online and to really have the same conversation, but then talk about some next steps and what we can do. Because right now, with everything that's going on, whether it be the crisis, the pandemic that's happening, whether it be the social and racial unrest that we're seeing in the streets, there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of trauma in our communities. There's a lot of trauma that people are dealing with, period. And we know that, first of all, we're very appreciative of the work that you do, but we understand that we have to protect the work that you do, and more specifically, we have to protect the fact that you're a Black-owned business, and we don't see a lot of those in our community. So, will you just share with us what's happening and what's the reason why we're having this conversation?
Okay. Well, you really want to get started. It basically goes back 3 years ago. We had a person that worked for me for about 15 years. They were my executive director over our foster care program. We had to terminate him, and because of some things that happened. Uh, these things I can talk about as far as the what he did with the state government. There were some things there that happened where he recorded conversations and so forth and so on. However, but there were some other things that I'm not at liberty to share at this point in time.
Mhm.
Well, he decided that he was going to go to a big box company about a year or so ago. And they're very well tied within state government and so forth and so on. So what he did, and he's over their foster care program, which they really never got into. Um, and what he's done, he's stolen my staff. Basically, he's hired my staff out of our Richmond office, and has stolen and basically taken our foster homes. Which basically the way this whole thing operates, we invest in the foster parents. We recruit, train, and license our foster parents, and then what we do is, because of such a need here in the state of Kentucky for homes of color, we actually are able to take the children that are in foster care, or that are in the system, and place them in healthy homes, that to where they can receive therapy from our
Mhm.
therapist, or where they can receive case management services and any wraparound services that they need. And so, as a result of of his actions, we've gone from having 40 employees to down to 14.
Can
um,
I jump in there real quick, because I
sure.
want people to feel what you're saying,
Yeah.
and understand how tragic
Right.
this is,
Yes, it is.
and how we can help.
Right.
This white gentleman that
Yes.
used to work for you,
Correct.
who, I'll say it, you don't have to say it,
Cor-
seemed to be sabotaging
Correct.
some things that were going on with you.
Correct.
was then hired by a bigger company
Yes.
that does health services, healthcare services, mental health care.
Yeah.
And he went out with prior knowledge and started poaching
Correct.
your field. And now that has pressed your Black-owned business
Yes.
by this bigger white-owned business.
Correct.
And is pushing you out of town when, in fact,
right.
we have said all along
right.
that we need more people that look like you and I
Correct.
in this field.
Correct.
And yet this company seems to be purposely
Correct.
trying to put you out of business.
Correct. That you took the words right out of my mouth. And like I said, in the climate that we're in, I voiced all of this to the Department of Community-Based Services, within that hierarchy. But again, when you look at that hierarchy within state government, there's nobody that looks like me. I'm the only African-American male CEO, other than the other gentleman.
Can you say that again? Because Lord have mercy. Say that again.
I'm the only African-American CEO here in the state of Kentucky that does what we do in child welfare.
Wow.
And so when I go to Frankfurt and to meetings or whatnot, I don't see anybody that looks like me, and they're making decisions about our children that affect our children. They're not receiving any, and they're not receiving any advice or any direction from people that look like me.
Wow. And that is what we're seeing across the board. But I'm so glad you're saying what you're saying. And again, I want to reiterate what you're saying because it's just critical that Terry's in rooms where decisions are being made about our children, and yet he's the only one in the room, and now only Black man in the room. And now they're putting the push to get you, the only one in the room, out of that room and continue making decisions that affect our kids.
Correct. That is correct. That is
wow.
Correct. And this has been going on for quite some time, and basically what they've done is that they're shielding this particular agency from this other agency because of a little caveat that they have in our contract. They say that they can, another agency cannot actively recruit foster parents or poach foster parents from another agency. Well, what they did was they hired my staff who had access to our databases, and before they left our company, they told them where they were going. So naturally, when they left, when the state talks to them, they're saying, well, we weren't poached by anyone from this other company. Well, no, you weren't. They were still employed by me at that time.
Right.
And so, and that's the sad thing. And that's the sad thing about this whole thing. So basically, they're tiptoeing around a standard within the contract and are able to get away with it. And here we are we're much smaller than this big box agency because they've been around for, oh my gosh, for several years. They're based out of Louisville, and we don't have the resources. We don't have the backing like they have to be able to go up against. It's like a David and Goliath situation at this point.
Right. Well, and this is what people need to know for the person that may be watching this and they're saying, well, that's just business. Well, that's just business. Well, the problem is we have to protect our minority-owned, Black-owned businesses. And this is such an important field where we need Black men and women that if we allow this to happen without letting our collective voice be heard, we'll have no one to blame but ourselves. What we're hearing right now, while that may be in some people's minds common business practices, we cannot let what is the normal business sort of way stamp out and push out such a critical business. I'm asking everyone to share this. I need everyone to share this because we're saying, especially in the climate that we're living in right now, we have to do something. We have to do something because, Mr. Jones, we need you in that role. We need your company in that role. And when we allow these kind of things to happen, again, we're literally damaging our future.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I want to give you the space.
You're exactly right. One of the things that that we're very proud of and that we got commandeered on from the state was that we over the past 2 years we've done over 30 adoptions.
Wow.
We have found forever homes for children. And one of the things is that that's a very difficult thing to do, especially when you're talking about the majority of the kids that are still caught up in the system are our children, and they are teenagers and sibling sets. So when we're able to recruit and train a African American family, or a family period, to be able to take one of our children in, it takes a lot, and so what happens is you spend all these resources on recruiting and training. So when these children get adopted, you no longer have a home to be able to provide for that. Home
Wow.
is now off. They're pretty much, a lot of people usually get out of the whole foster care piece, so we don't have any more homes to take these children in. And so
Wow.
then we're back to the beginning again of recruiting, training, putting out more resources to try to find good homes for these children.
Will you share with the people, because you said something to me yesterday that I thought
Sure.
was heartbreaking and striking,
Sure.
based on the current trajectory, the
Mhm.
way that things are going right now. You gave sort of an outlook on, at this rate, this is what's going to happen. Will you share that with people?
Yeah, at this rate, with the current pace in which this big box agency is really hurting us, um, we may not even be in business by end of September,
Mm,
first part of October. I'm just being honest with you. We've been doing this for 21 years. We've put forth our gallant effort. We've acted honorably. We've never had a child die in our care, where there
mm,
are agencies that are in Kentucky that are way bigger than us who've had multiple children die in care. Um, we've never had that in 21 years. We've never had a child
wow.
die in care. Um, and I think that is a major accomplishment,
It is.
because you do have, like I said, you do have other agencies who've hit the news, who've paid off people to try to keep them out of the news, and because a child has lost their life in their agency. We train our families well, to be able to provide the best care for these children, because these children have a lot of different behavioral issues and a lot of mental health issues, and we have trained staff, therapists that are here, case managers that are here to be able to provide the necessary services to these children. And if they're gone, our children will be left to the devices of people that don't look like them.
Mm, mm,
And trauma, as you mentioned earlier. See, when you remove a child from a home, that's traumatic, regardless of what
right.
you're removing them for. It's a very traumatic piece, and so you want to try to place them in a home or in a place that looks like them or close to them, so that they can, one, relax and become, and not be traumatized, all over again,
Right.
because it's already
Re-traumatized.
traumatic leaving. So basically, that's one of the things that we provide. When you have when you have African American therapists that look like you. See, my treatment director, she's African American. My therapist, one of my therapists here in Louisville, she's African American. As a matter of fact, she speaks 4 different languages, and
Wow.
her husband is a pastor. And
Mm,
so these are things that we really pay attention to, because again, we want our children to receive the best care possible, because it's a terrible thing when they have to be pulled from their homes anyway. But we want them to be able to be healed, ministered to on all levels. And so
yeah.
we want to make sure that we have the right staff in. But again, if we're not here, we're not going to be able to provide that service.
Right. Right. And we, as I said before, we need you. We need you here. So there are several different things that we can do,
Right.
that we're going to walk through. The first thing, I don't know if we got the GoFundMe
Yes, we do.
information in. Did we get that?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that we want to do, and I'm asking you personally to do this. I'm asking everyone that cares, everyone that can, to contribute. I believe in sowing into good ground. I believe in donating and helping. And this is the epitome of good ground. So I'm asking everyone that's on here, everyone that will go back and watch this again, to please consider making a contribution to what I believe is a critical service in our community. If we have that information on the screen now, will you tell people why or where their donations will go to?
Your donations will go to basically preserving this legacy. as
Yeah.
well as providing services for children, because a lot of our kids need need some specialized services that are not covered by their medical card or not covered by the state. And so a lot of the services that those monies will be going toward providing for those services, whether it be equine services or after school services or special pieces that they need to be able to be wraparound services and things like that they need to be able to stay safe in their homes that they're in. That's where the money is going to go.
Wow, good, good. And you, again, as you see it there coming across your screen,
Yes.
that information is there. The campaign is called Fighting for What is Right. We need everyone that can to please today, this week, go and make a contribution so that we can preserve this legacy. Something else that I think would be very, very beneficial, and again, everyone can do this. Mr. Jones, I get so many people that reach out to me and say, what can I do in this fight for justice? How can I help? I can't come out and protest, but I want to be a part of the fight. These are the kinds of things that we need everyone to do. I'm asking everyone to call the governor. Please, I want everyone to call the governor. The number is on the screen, 502-564-2611. And let him know we want New Beginnings services preserved.
Yes.
We want them preserved. I think everyone that has a phone, you can call that. I want to blow those phone lines up today and let him know what you've heard on today. Express to him, send a message to him that this is right, that we need this service. And the one thing that I've heard from the governor and I've heard from the mayor is that these are the kinds of things that they want to preserve. These are the kinds of things that they want to do right by. Well, this is a perfect opportunity to come alongside a legitimate, long-standing, Black-owned business in our community that is doing amazing work. We cannot allow, as you called it, a big box chain to come in and push them out of business. We cannot allow that to happen. I'm asking you to call 502-564-2611 and let your voice be heard. And I can tell you, as one that has worked in government before, don't call one time.
Yes.
Call several times. Call over and over. As a matter of fact, can I tell you a secret? If one person calls 10 times a day and then 100 people call 10 times a day, they will feel that pressure.
Yes.
Trust me, they will feel that pressure. And I just believe, Mr. Jones, what you're doing is so important. It is so important. Wow. So you got people saying they're calling right now. I love it. I love it. Anything else that you want to just let the people know?
That basically we're here for the community. We do have 4 offices throughout the state of Kentucky. We have one here in Louisville, which is right out at 509 Barrett Avenue. So if you're interested in becoming a foster parent, you can dial 502-485-0722. Or if you're interested in becoming, if you need community mental health services for you or for your child or your family, you can call 502-400-2369. Again, I'm in our local Louisville office, but we do have an office in Elizabethtown that provides the exact same service, the office in Richmond, and an office in Northern Kentucky that provides the exact same services that we do here. So, or else you can go to our website, which is www.kentuckyfostercare.com. If you're interested in becoming a foster parent, or if you're interested in community mental health services, you can go to www.kentuckyfamilyservices.com, and that will take you to the page that where you can apply for services and whatnot, and we'll make sure that we get back with you.
Awesome. Please share this. Please make posts about this, tweet about this. Do whatever you can do. Because we want to preserve this needed service in our community. So again, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation with us. Thank you, Mr. Jones, for taking time out so we can highlight this. And I'm looking forward to coming back on with you and hearing the testimony of what happens next.
Yes, so, thank you so much, Pastor Tim.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. Absolutely. God bless you all.
God bless you
and we'll
too.
talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.